Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook, listen to me, YouTube Live. I'm trying to figure out where I am today. It's been a little bit of a crazy day. The kids didn't end up having school today. We had a little ice storm overnight last night. And so kids are at home, I'm at home. And I was worried, incredibly worried that I was totally going to forget about this video just because I'm all out of my routine today. But anyway, I'm here, and hopefully you are as well, or no, hopefully I have a few of you joining me as well, I should say. So I appreciate you being here and saying hello if you are, and if you're watching the replay, that is awesome too. Hey Karen, thanks for joining today. So I'm sure you probably have a bunch of yucky snow and ice and all that, or did have a little bit this morning in your area as well, since you're not too far from me. But yeah, we're no school today for the kids. It started out 2 hours late and ended up with a whole day off. So it's all good. It's melting now though, like incredibly fast. So the sun came out and it sounds like it's raining outside. It's just so much of the ice is melting off the roof right now. So hey Rosie and Bree, thanks for joining. All right, so this is the card that we're going to make today, and I played around with a bundle that I haven't used in a little while, and it is called the Sweet as a Peach stamp set bundle, and is one of my favorite ones from the annual catalog. So no snow, but beautiful sparkly ice. That's kind of what we ended up with too. It didn't really end up snowing like they said it was going to. We just got a lot of ice, and it was really pretty this morning, as long as I didn't have to be out in it. So, hey Danette, thanks for joining. So this is the stamp set that we're using today. Again, it's a photopolymer, and it's one that I love. It's got a lot of good sentiments in it, some great images, perfect for spring and summer cards, birthday cards, thank yous, all sorts of things. And then we've got the coordinating peach die set that goes with it, and there are dies that cut out the peach, the leaves, this little grouping of leaves, a little grouping of peaches, a little grouping of flowers, and then there are just some accessory pieces. There's a little extra branch and some little flower die cuts, little leaves, and then this one actually cuts out some of the smaller sentiments that are on this set as well. All right, so that is the stamp set and the dies. Let me get some of these set out of the way here. Another thing that I used is the Nature's Thoughts dies, and this is one that I haven't pulled out in a little while, but I forget about how good it is. There's a lot of really good dies in here, and the one I used out of this set in particular is this one, and hopefully you can see it in the video, but it's got sort of like a, I don't know, pierced edge on it. It's not stitched, it's more of a pierced edge, and it's one of the dies that I love a lot, and it covers a lot of the card front, so it's nice to have a good rectangular die that you can use with almost anything. And there are some just really good neutral die, or not neutral, general use dies, I guess is what I'm trying to say, in this die set. And one other set that I use, which is another one of my favorites, this one is the Tasteful Labels dies. And the one that I used out of it is sort of the, I don't know, circular, rectangular, rounded rectangle, I guess we'll call it. So, hey, Karen Finkel, thanks for joining, and Debbie as well. Glad you're here today. So this is another one of those die sets that if you don't have it, you need to get it because it fits all sorts of sentiments, and it's a great, great die set. I use it a ton. And again, these are all from the annual catalog, and this is the Tasteful Labels dies. All right, the last thing that I used here, well, not totally the last thing, but one of the last things that I used is the Meadow Moments embossing folders. And I knew I was going to forget the name of it, so I wrote it down to make sure I didn't. So the one that I used, it's always so hard to show these. I don't know if it is better or worse when it's on the white cardstock, but it's got some really cool leaves on it, and it embosses, and it's got some little dots on it as well. This is the one that I actually used on the card, and then it comes with a second one that's got some little butterflies and flowers and leaves, so kind of, again, some good spring and summer embossing folders, good images. This one actually you could even use into the fall because it sort of looks like falling leaves. So again, those are the Meadow Moments embossing folders, and I did use one of them on the top of my card. And I think that's it for the stuff that I use. So a couple of updates. Hey, Gwen and Penny and Susan, thanks for joining. I'm glad you found me here too. So the Stampin' Up! Announced this earlier this week. They're doing a Savings Are in Bloom sale starting on March 1st. So this starts after celebration ends, so just be aware of that. So it starts on March 1st, and they have put their little mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and a whole bunch of bundles, all squared away: Art Gallery, Beauty of Friendship, Celebrate Sunflowers, Garden Wishes, Hydrangea Haven, Pansy Patch, Quiet Meadow, Seascape, Sweet as a Peach, Welcoming Window, What's Cooking, and Wildcats bundles are all on sale for 20% off for the month of March. So awesome deal. And this is the prices are 20% off the bundle pricing. So that's a really good deal. I don't know that I've ever seen Stampin' Up! Put their bundles on sale before. So I was pretty excited to see that, and a good deal. So again, this starts on March 1st, along with a little mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So you can buy as many or as few of these as you would like. All of them are 20% off for the month of March. Then we have the Waves of the Ocean promotion, which is also starting on March 1st, again, after celebration ends. They have a new product collection called Waves of the Ocean, and it includes the stamp set dies bundled together, Waves of the Ocean 12 by 12 designer paper, 12 by 12 blue foil specialty paper, and beautiful rhinestone waves basic gems. So if you order the full product collection, you get all of these items in it. You can also order items individually. You can just get the bundle, just the stamp set, just the dies, and just the papers or the gems. So you can order it however you would like. One thing to know on this one is that the papers, the designer paper and the blue foil specialty paper and the gems are only available while supplies last. And they are beautiful, so you're going to want them, so just order them, trust me. So they're available while supplies last through May 2nd. The stamp set bundle is actually going to be, it's a pre-order from the next annual catalog, so that will be carrying forward, so you'll be able to order that moving forward into the next catalog, but they're offering it early, so it's a good deal, and it's pretty, and I like it, and you'll like it, and so just order it. So that's my theory on it, is just order it, and then you'll never be sad. All right. Last thing, I guess I should say before we get started on the card, is the All Together product collection. This is another product collection that's out of a catalog, or not out of a catalog. It's not in a catalog, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And again, you can order this all together as a full bundle, or you can get the Here Together stamp set and dies bundled together or individually. There's some cool black and white all together designer series paper, and this is 6x6 paper. And then there are the Natural Tones Stampin' Blends collection. Right now, a couple of the colors, I think it's the lighter two colors, are actually turned off for ordering, but they will be back, so good news on that. The blends are all going to be back in the next annual catalog. As soon as they're restocked, they'll be back up for sale, so hopefully it will be soon. The stamp set dies and designer series paper, last we heard, are only going to be available through May 2nd while supplies last. So if you want those items, just know that they're only around for a short time. The markers will be carrying forward, so while they may temporarily be unavailable, they should be around for the future. So, all right, let me know if you have questions on that. The details will be on my blog tomorrow, as well as all the details for this card. So you don't need to worry about keeping track of anything other than listening to me ramble, and hopefully I don't make too many mistakes. So, all right. So my original card is a top fold card, just because, again, that's my preferred card fold. You can make this, because this one doesn't matter, it can go either way. You can make this as a regular book fold card if you prefer, so that's what I've done with this card base. So this card base is cut to 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4, where my original card base was cut to, I've got a chunk of something yucky on the card. Anyway, so my original card base was cut to 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5.5. So whatever your preferred card base is, you can definitely do it either way with this card. Okay. I went ahead of time and embossed a piece, and I'll hold it up and hopefully catch the light right on it so you'll be able to see it, the embossing on it, with the Meadow Moments embossing folder. And this is, again, just basic white cardstock, and the piece is cut to about 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. And again, the measurements will be on the blog tomorrow, so look at what they say and don't listen to me, because sometimes I get the numbers all a mess. And then, yeah, my glue seems to be, oh, there we go. I knew it was going to come out in a big glob, so I was trying to get it to the center of the cardstock before I ended up with a huge glob on the edge. So, all right. Using a little bit of liquid glue, which, as you can see, because I make a mess with things, this is not always my favorite glue to use, but I do prefer to use it when I'm putting a larger panel on a background like this, where I want to make sure that I get it so that everything is lined up straight. So I usually tend to use it on things like this when I'm doing a background. So I'm just sticking it on the thick basic white card base. All right, so trying to get it lined up here. And then I've got a piece of the Sunshine and Rainbows designer series paper. This is from Celebration. Celebration is ending on Monday, the 28th, which I can't believe it's already like the last few days of February. So you've only got a couple more days to get this paper. This is one of the items that is available. I don't know why my glue is misbehaving, but it is today. Must know that I'm live. So this paper is only available for free with an order of $50 or greater during celebration. So make sure that you are getting it ordered soon, getting your order put in soon so that you can get this awesome paper. It is a pack that I love. Again, it's all full of pretty designs of, rainbows and backgrounds and all the good things. So this is one of my favorite patterns from it. You will, if you look back through some of my cards, you will probably see that I use this pattern a lot. I love polka dots and kind of the more basic designs. That's a little more my style. Some of the brighter ones get a little too much for me. But that's my own personal thing. So everybody has their own favorite. All right, this is a little piece of Pale Papaya Designer Series paper that I have cut from the 2021 to 2023 in color 6x6 Designer Series paper pack. That's a lot of words just for this little half-inch wide strip of Designer Series paper. So it's cut to about a ½ inch wide by about, I got a big gloober there, by about 4 1/4, so it should fit across the card front here. I'm using a little Stampin' seal. To line this up, let me get my glue glob off of it before I end up sticking something else to that. To line this up, I actually am just lining it up with the top, hopefully I'm on screen, with the top of the Designer Series paper and lining it up along the edges. So my Designer Series paper that's already on the card front, I should say. So that is what I stuck it to make sure that it was straight and in the right place. Okay. I'm just throwing things everywhere. It's going to be one of those days. Hey, Paula, thanks for joining. I appreciate you being here. Okay, so the next thing that I did was I went ahead and again pre-cut this. This is cut with the Nature's Thoughts dies, the larger rectangular one here. I'll show you that one again. So this is the die set, and this is the die that I actually used to cut it. We're going to do a little stamping now. I have got, again, I cut this from basic white cardstock, and I've got soft seafoam ink that we're going to be stamping the little branch image in. So. Hey, Amy, thanks for hopping in from Colorado. I appreciate you being here. Glad you're catching me live too. So, okay, so I've got, again, soft seafoam ink. I'm scooting things over so I don't accidentally make a disaster, which I usually do. And I'm stamping it so that the top of the little branch is actually kind of off the edge of the cardstock. So a couple of the leaves are going to kind of fall off it too. Not fall off it, but not be stamped on it, I guess I should say. All right, so we've got those stamped, and then we are going to ink up the peach image. And to start with, it's the little grouping of 3 peaches, and I've got the Pale Papaya ink. So Gwen's chatting about that near North Carolina. Okay, chatting about where you're living at. That is awesome. So I've got Pale Papaya ink that I've done the initial inking of the image in, and then I'm going to take Mango Melody and a sponge dauber, and we're going to add a little bit of Mango Melody ink along the edges of the peaches. So just taking the sponge dauber, putting a little bit of it on the, little bit of ink on the sponge dauber, and I'm going to do a quick twist on the paper just to make sure I'm not way overly inky. And then I'm just going to take it and I'm going to use the little dauber and just sort of daub it down the sides of the peaches here. And again, it doesn't add a ton of color or a huge change in the image, but it adds just a little bit of, I don't know, sort of a little kind of multi-tone, I guess, 2 oranges that it'll stamp it in. So, all right. And I just use the sponge dauber. This is the hard part because I've got the camera in between me and what I'm stamping, so I'm trying to get it lined up and hopefully stamped. I can see I stamped it a little crazy. All right, not too bad. It turned out better than I was expecting. This one I knew was off, and I'm like, but it was too late. It was already on the paper. So, all right, so got that one for my background image, and then I am going to actually clean my stamp here, and we are going to redo the same thing. I'm going to try not to stick my elbow in my ink pad that I left open like a crazy person. And again, I'm going to close this one, and I've got Pale Papaya ink that we are going to ink the background of the peaches in. And then I'm going to come back in with that sponge dauber and Mango Melody ink and put it in right along the edge of the peaches again. The reason I did kind of wipe it down between and cleaned my stamp between the images is just because I had two different shades of ink on there, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't end up with Mango Melody all over in my Pale Papaya ink pad. That would have probably made me a little sad. So, all right, so we're going to stamp this. And this one I can see a little bit more of the difference in the color, so a little more drastic because I didn't take it and put it on the paper. So, but I think it still looks all right. So, all right. Then I'm going to go back in with my soft seafoam ink and the branch image again. Just going to stamp that. Oop, you know what? It looks like I didn't get it very inky on the one corner here. Make sure I've got that good and inky, and we're going to stamp it here on the basic white cardstock panel. There we go. Get this out of the way and closed up so I don't stick my fingers in that one either. And then I'm going to take the peach dies, which I've got sitting over here, and this one is going to cut out the branches, and then this one is going to cut out the little peach image. And again, my die cutting machine is off here to my left-hand side, so I'm going to be off screen for a second. We're just going to run these through the die cutting machine quick, and then we'll start sticking things together. So, hopefully y'all are enjoying your day. I don't know, I know up here in the New Jersey area, we ended up with a bunch of ice, and I think some got snow, but we just ended up getting ice. So, interesting morning always. When you get the wake-up calls from the school, starting at 5:30 or 6 o'clock, the phone starts ringing, which is not my favorite thing. But oh well, better to know early. All right, I'm going to have to run these through 2 different times here because my images are stamped a little closer together, and I don't want to end up knocking one of them off as I run it through the die cutting machine. Okay. So I've got the branches cut out here, and I'm going to run it back through with the peaches. And I don't know if you guys can hear the dripping and all of the clunking from the ice falling off the side of the house, but goodness, it sounds like the room is about ready to fall apart here. From where I am, I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but it is loud in here. So, all right. I am going to go ahead and then take little mini glue dots, and we are going to stick the die cut pieces to the panel that I've already got this stamped on. So, all right. Hey, Mary, thanks for joining from Canada. Hopefully you are warmer up there than we are down here. I don't know if you are, although I shouldn't complain because it is warming up quickly this afternoon. The sun came out, so it's actually kind of turning out to be a not so horrible day. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and stick this on the die cut panel. Again, just using little mini glue dots to do that. And then I'm going to put the peaches back where they belong on the die cuts. This is the only sort of difficult part, is sort of making sure, and I don't know that it's the end of the story, the end of the world if these end up in not exactly the right order, but I generally try to put them back in the same order that they were stamped in, or the same place that they came from when I stamped them. I think I'm getting them in the right spots, maybe. All right, and then we've got our last one here. Ooh, there we go. Come on, glue dots. And I'll stick that one up here. And then we're just going to stick it on the card front with a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals. And again, don't forget, Stampin' Up! Has got a great joining promotion going on through the end of Celebration, which again ends on Monday. I can't believe it. You get 2 free stamp sets with your starter kit. So normally the starter kit is $99, and you get free shipping on it. You pay taxes on it if the taxes apply in your area, but you do get free shipping on your starter kit from Stampin' Up! And get some business goodies in there, and you get to pick $125 worth of Stampin' Up! Merchandise from the catalog, whatever merchandise it is that you want, including anything you can pre-order. So any of those new items that are starting on March 1st, you can actually pre-order those. And then you get 2 free stamp sets on top of that. So yay, it's a great deal. So, all right, next up, we are going to put the ribbon on the card front. So I put a little Stampin' Seal on here. Still a little bit of snow in Oregon. Yeah, yeah, sure. On your kitty. Oh no. So the kid. Okay, so the kitty took you. Oh, happy to be home. Oh. Well, I'm glad you're home. Glad Kitty's there. Hopefully you're staying well and staying safe and goodness. So, all right. So I've got some of the Pale Papaya open weave ribbon, the 3/8" open weave ribbon. And I'm just going to take 2 little pieces of it and I'm going to stick it here on the card front. And I think I've got this one stuck a little bit closer than I want it to be. I think I'm going to lift that and stick it again here. Just going to make a little X with the ribbon on the card front. Do this. And you can use Stampin' Seal like I did here, or you can use glue dots, whatever your preferred glue is. You can use liquid glue if you want to. I find that with ribbons, liquid glue is a huge mess. Again, liquid glue is not always my friend. If you're really good at using it and don't make a mess like I do, then you can definitely use liquid glue with your ribbons, but I just don't have very good luck with it. So I'm actually going to take a little glue dot and secure this piece of ribbon down a little bit better. There we go. Just stuck it right in the center of it, and it doesn't matter what it looks like underneath there because no one is going to see it. It's going to be all covered by our sentiment. So, all right, next up, we're going to do a little stamping with the sentiment, and I've got Pale Papaya cardstock, and you can probably see this is the piece that I cut my sentiment out of earlier. And I have got Versamark ink and the sentiment from the Sweet as a Peach stamp set. And it's just the happy birthday sentiment, so it's a pretty basic one. So I know I'm hacking at my... I was wondering when Karen was going to say it, and I was hacking at my ribbon with my paper snips. I know I need to get better scissors. And like I said, I do have them. I just get lazy and I don't pull them out. So, all right. Then I have got white embossing powder from the Basics embossing powders. And we're just going to sprinkle that over the sentiment. I think I'm going to sprinkle a little bit more on because I think I missed a little bit of the top, it looks like. There we go, that's much better coverage. And then I'm going to go ahead and close this up just because I've learned from the past that if you end up turning your embossing or your heat tool on, sometimes you end up with embossing powder flying everywhere and it's a huge mess. So, all right, so the Stampin' Up! Heat tool has 2 settings on it. Level 1 setting is for drying and level 2 setting is for heat embossing. So level 1 setting works perfectly if you are doing something like watercoloring and want it to dry a little faster. You can do that. Or working with some of the inks that stay wet a little bit longer, you can dry them faster with the level 1 setting. Or the level 2 settings you use for heat embossing, so it's definitely hotter. And try not to blow everything all over my desk. And just going to take that, and once it starts turning that bright white, you know that it's done, and you want to keep your heat tool moving along because you can burn embossing powder, so you don't want to hold it in one spot for too long. But when it's all that bright white, then you know it's done, and give it just a second to cool off a little bit because you can smear embossing powder if it's not cooled off and dried a little bit. So, oh, hey, Rosie, I appreciate that. Thanks so much. So, all right, let me grab my die set here, which I'm going to again use from the Tasteful Labels dies, this sort of rounded rectangle, and I'm going to take this and we are going to do run it through the die cutting machine to cut out the sentiment. So I'll be off screen for a second. Hopefully for a second, if I can get the, of course, I don't know why today my dies are just not cooperating. All right. Or maybe it's my big fat clumsy hands that aren't cooperating. That happens too. So, all right. So we've got this die cut done, and I'm just going to take a couple little Stampin' dimensionals, and I'm going to try to be a little careful about where I place the dimensionals. I'm going to put one here on the top and the bottom of it in each spot to try to keep it off of that ribbon when I'm sticking it to the card front. The reason I try to do that is I want to make sure that it's stuck on the paper and not just stuck on the ribbon, because if you just have it stuck on the ribbon, sometimes the ribbons come loose a little bit and then your sentiment is kind of flapping around, and I almost totally stuck that on upside down. That would not have been good. All right, I'm going to slide this a little bit. These are a little wider than I want them to be for the X's, so I'm scooching the ribbon around a little bit, straightening it out a little bit. That's the one good thing about the glue dots is that they are a little bit smushable, so you can kind of move the glue dots around. That's why I love them. So Then I'm going to take this and adhere it to the card front right over the top of the ribbon. So Jean's saying, did you already mention the peach? That yes, I did mention that early. So you must have hopped on a couple minutes late. But yep, I already talked about the sale earlier. And if you missed the sale, you can go back and catch the details on the video or check out my blog post at stampwithamyk.com tomorrow, and the details for the sale are going to be posted on there as well. But thank you for mentioning that, Jean. So, oh, thanks, Carol. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're liking the card. I almost forgot gems. I was going to say, I thought I was all done, but I'm not quite done with the outside of the card. So I've got the champagne rhinestone basic jewels, and we're just going to stick a couple of these here around the card front. Take one of the bigger ones and tuck it over here, and then a couple of the littler ones. There are my snips. So, see, Karen, my snips are multi-purpose. I can use them as my take your pick tool when I forget to put my take your pick tool over here too. So, all right, so we're going to take a couple of the little champagne rhinestone basic jewels and stick them there on the card front. And that really is it for the card front, I promise. Now we're done. On the inside of the card, I kept it pretty simple. I've got basic white cardstock, and this is cut to 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to do a little bit of Stampin' for a sentiment on the inside and a little bit of designer paper. And sentiment I stamped in pale papaya ink. Oh, and I put the wrong sentiment on there. Whoops. I didn't want it to say sweet as a peach. I wanted to have a peachy day stamp, and I totally stuck the wrong one on the block when I was setting things up. And so this is the one I want it to be. All right. Let me put this one back in the case, because if I don't, I know that I will end up with it stuck to the bottom of something and not at all where it's supposed to be. So, all right, so try this again, pale papaya ink. I'm glad I noticed it before I stuck it down on the cardstock. And again, basic white cardstock, just gonna stamp that sort of centered, probably a little bit up of center. And then take a piece of the leftover that I had trimmed away from the Sunshine and Rainbows Designer Series paper. And I'm gonna adhere that to the bottom of the basic white cardstock panel, and then we'll be all done with the card. So let me know if you have any questions. Again, all the details for this will be posted on my blog tomorrow, and I will link up the blog post in this video. So if you're watching the video, around 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern time is when my blog post will go live. So I will be linking it up then, and you can see all the details and find the all the details for the promotions, the items that are going to be on sale starting on March 1st. You can see the celebration details, Waves of the Ocean information, the all together details, so all kinds of things will be posted on my blog tomorrow, so make sure that you check it out then. So all right, let me go ahead and stick this to the inside of the card, and we'll be all done. So, oh, thanks so much, Danette. I'm glad you like the card. So, all right, gonna grab the bone folder and do a little crease here along the edge. I'm gonna try to be a little careful up here where the embossing is, so that I hopefully don't smash all the embossing. I'm gonna flip it over and do the crease on the back side of it there. And that's it. The card's all done. So I appreciate you all joining me today. I will plan to be live on my Facebook page around 2 o'clock Eastern time on Tuesday, and then back here live around 2 o'clock Eastern time next week, Friday. So thanks so much for joining today. I appreciate you being here. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I'm sure we'll be chatting again soon.